Come here. Welcome to the Famous Foxes Aftermath Show, live every Sunday on Leicester Fan TV. Come on, you Foxes. Good morning, Foxes. How the devil are you today? How's your weekend been so far? Through to the next round of the FA Cup. What more do you want? Welcome to the original Sunday morning LCFC show. We talk about football here all the time. Well, you know what day it is. It's Sunday. It's 10 a.m. So it's time for the Famous Foxes Aftermath show. Run by us fans in here. And you know what? It's for you fans out there. And you know what? Your opinion really matters. So get them comments in. Let's get going. It's kickoff time. Come on, you Foxes.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.
Morning all, how the devil are you? It's nice waking up on a Sunday morning knowing that we've won. It's FA Cup, stops the rot. Last time we played QPR in the FA Cup, we lost 5-2 back in 1987. That was on that old-fashioned artificial pitch. I mean, we had to beat them. QPR hadn't won 51 times. They've been knocked out in the third round stage. It was written in the sky for us, wasn't it? It was written in the sky. That's if you were able to see it. There's a couple of lads in the background already. Reedy, how are you, pal?
I'm good. How are you?
Are you good? Did you manage to see much of it yesterday? Through that
I didn't see the first one, but I was managed to be able to just see every other goal. So yeah.
Right, we've got a special guest today, Callum Boyle from GRV Media, a big Leicester fan as well, senior writer at GRV Media. Morning, Callum. How are you, pal?
Morning, very good, thanks. How are you?
Did you manage to see much of the game yesterday?
Yeah, a bit of a squint through the eyes for the first half, but once I started shooting towards SK1, a lot better to see. But just glad we won and saw enough of it to see that we did well enough to get through to the next round. So happy days.
It is an happy day, fourth round of the Cup. What more do we want? Let's get in Geordie Jono. Geordie Jono just sneaked in right at the very end, just as we were starting. Hello, Geordie Jono. How are you, pal?
Better now. I'm good.
Good. You enjoyed that yesterday, did you?
Much needed. It was much needed.
It was much needed, weren't it? Callum, we'll start with you. When that team selection came out, an hour before the game kicked off, what did he think? Because he'd been talking up the youngsters all in the press conferences and all week, and then all of a sudden he's put out one of his strongest teams with the Palace game on Wednesday. I was a bit worried just in case we got injuries or even the worst happened, we had a defeat. I mean, it was a bit worrying, wasn't it?
I mean, I think you look at it from two ways. I mean, there is obviously sort of the worry that a player could get injured with sort of another big game on the horizon. But I think when you've been on a run like we have in the past, I think it was almost sort of a great chance for these lots to sort of, sometimes you do just need a game where you need a bit of a confidence booster, and having that 11 go out, obviously, albeit probably bar Vestergaard, you would say that's his strongest 11 on paper right now. I think they really needed that sort of confidence boost. And, obviously it wasn't always pretty at times yesterday, but scoring 6 is always a good confidence booster. And just stopping that run of sort of 5 losses in a row and sort of 6 without a win, that's going to do the players a world of good, and they'll go into Wednesday's game with a bit of a spring in their step now and sort of belief, that they do have the ability to go and do it, albeit against the rotated QPR side. But you can only play what's in front of you, and they did the job.
They certainly did. Reedy, you were there. What was your thoughts on the team news as well? You're the same as Callum, that you're thinking, oh God, what's happening here? Why are we going so strong?
Well, me and Sam did a tactics talk the other day for this game, and we basically put a whole B team out. Bobby Reid, Alves, Skip, like I say, the whole change squad, even the keeper being Iverson. But do you know what? I think it did do a world of good. And like I said, if we didn't get any injuries, which we didn't, it was like I say, it was win-win basically. You just hope that no one's either had a niggle or anything like that going into Wednesday night's game, because it's probably the bigger game out of the lot. If I'm totally honest, I wouldn't have minded if we did get knocked out. The only part about it, if we did, would have been the fact that we would have been embarrassed if we did lose to them with the team we had out. But we got through. Some good goals we scored as well. The way we played was decent. Yes, it was against the Championship side, but it was the level we were at compared to them, because last season we did lose to them. And some people said that our team last year was better than this year, so you got to look at it and think it obviously can't be if we did beat them 6-2 and we lost to them last year at home. So good to see. And as much as I didn't see the last goal, what a goal to end off the game with.
You had to catch a train, didn't you, unfortunately? So
Yes.
You said you had to catch the train. Craig, Mr. Six Hitter says, for me, it just proves that we are better attacking and then trying to defend. We need to be more forward with the attitude. If you score 2, we'll score more. Geordie Jono, that's right, isn't it? Because I've been asking to be more clinical in that final third. We only had 6 shots on target yesterday, and we scored from all 6. You can't be more clinical than that, can you, Jono?
You can't. And I was watching the match today, and they were doing analysis on our forward, and I made a good point that Elkanous and Mavididi linked up really well. They were feeding off each other. Like Mavididi's goal, Elkanous passed it back in the box. Mavididi had to have that tap in. I think it was a really good partnership, and they were saying that we have the ability to stay up. If we link up like we did at the front three, I think we can do really well. And it just proves that Buonanotte has to start every single game from now on until the end of the season. He doesn't care if he's got one broken leg. He has to play every single game because he's pivotal. He's absolutely brilliant. And I'm happy we're going to keep him and going into the rest of the season. He's not going to go back to Brighton. And I think if we have those 4 front, I think we have Jamie Vardy, Mavididi, Elkanous and Buonanotte at the front 4. I think we'll be fine if they play like they did yesterday.
That is our best. That is our best front 4. Like I know. I think Rogers. No, sorry, not Rogers. Cooper and Van Nistelrooy have their like soft spot for AU, but yeah, for me, and I know Mavididi isn't always that good, but when it comes to the attacking wise, Mavididi is so much more of a threat than someone like AU is.
Kind of, they've both mentioned there Mavididi, Elkanous and Buonanotte. We've got to start with all 3 of them on Wednesday night against Palace, haven't we? He can't bring in Ayew, surely. I mean, they've scored 12 goals between them 3. I know Ayew scored, is it 5 or so? I think it's 5. He can't bring him in, surely? That's the way forward, isn't it, that selection?
I think yesterday was sort of the game that was the big message from Buonanotte. I mean, Ruud in his post-match was actually very complimentary of him and Elkanous, and sort of those two probably the 2 players that sort of Rob Tanner also alluded to it yesterday, that they're probably the greatest chances of staying up. I think Elkanous sort of, compared to his debut when he came in to what he is now, it's night and day. Buonanotte has sort of hit the ground running straight away. I sort of kind of got why he wasn't starting straight away. I don't know if you thought sort of Elkanous and Buonanotte would maybe clash in terms of the similarities, but I actually think Buonanotte sort of aided James Justin in a way when he plays. You saw yesterday James Justin scored 2 goals, and part of the reason why that is because Buonanotte likes to cut inside on that right-hand side. He gives Justin that space. It's sort of him and Elkanous as well, both sort of almost have like free roaming roles where they're both sort of allowed to move around, and they sort of link up well. They help Mavididi. Vardy clearly thrives off playing for them all. I also actually think a big indicator is I think it's no coincidence that since Brian Barry Murphy's come into the club as an assistant manager, I think he came in sort of just after the Man City game, just before. I don't think it's a coincidence that the 3 performances since then have all been better. Obviously, there's a lot that can be improved on defensive-wise, but I would be very surprised if Wednesday wasn't the same front 4 that started, I think, sort of like I actually don't think Ayu's been that bad a player. I think he gets a bit of a scapegoat for some reason, but he would be sort of a great option to close out the game. Certainly at home games, you should be looking to go on the front foot. And Palace have had a bit of an upturn in form. They're on a bit of a good run of form at the minute, but there's no reason why we can't beat them on Wednesday. And I would be very surprised not to see that front four, especially with how clinical they were, how well they linked up. Well, I mean, Jamie Vardy's 38 and he's still fit as anything, and sort of he could play on Wednesday as well. So,
I mean, you say talking to Jamie Vardy, I was going to bring it up later on. That was his 34th penalty for Leicester out of 42. I didn't realise he'd missed 8 actually. I know he missed a few, but I didn't realise it was so many. But 34 out of 42 ain't a bad record, really, is it?
No, I mean, you obviously got some players that have scored every penalty, but I think he's done it times. He's 2 goals off 200 goals for Leicester now as well. So there's every chance he could.
He's 197. 197.
Oh, is he? Well, 3. He could well do that across the next 2 games, and which is remarkable in itself. I mean, you take aside how good he is, but the record's good. He led by example. I still don't think I think it was one of his better games yesterday, actually. This season, I thought his link-up play was really good. But obviously the main talking point was El Canus and Buonanotte, as it seems to be every week. I thought it was just solid. There's obviously a lot to be improved on. The defence is still. I mean, James Justin scored 2 goals, but still sort of had a bit of a difficult spell with Chair, who we know is a very good player from last season anyway. He sort of gave Justin a bit of torrid time. Definitely wasn't Harry Winks' best game in a Leicester shirt.
No, definitely wasn't.
Lovely through ball for the QPR goal, must be said. But other than that, Chris Jansen's solid again, very solid. Cody wasn't great, nor was he poor. He was just sort of grew into the game a bit more. For Wout Faes, to be fair, he definitely proved the point, and it could be that this spell out the first team actually has benefited him in the long run. Obviously, you have to take into account they're playing a rotated QPR side, but games like that he's not played well in this season, and he did. So that might be like a nice that spell out the first team might sort of brought his level back down.
Reedy, Callum's just mentioned about Harry Winks and his mistake, or 2 mistakes he made. We've got to try and cut them mistakes out, haven't we, Reedy? Because that is what's costing us, really, isn't it?
That's what I've been asking for since Ruud's come in, really. Because, like I say, we've been deserving of points since he's been in. Maybe it's down to errors. A lot of it's down to, like I say, we have been playing well, and I know we said that this when we got relegated last time, and we're saying that if we play like this, we'll stay up. I think the issue is, compared to us getting points and not getting us points, like you said, is the errors. JJ making a lot of errors as well. Not all of them, but there's key players that for some reason who have been quality are just making these mistakes, and it's just costing us too many goals. And like yesterday, like Callum said at the start, we could have beaten them 6-0 if we didn't make the errors. It's just all about cutting them out. And if that was me saying about after the Villa game to say drop JJ, but then he had a decent game yesterday. So does that mean he's going to come straight back into the Wednesday night game? Probably. But hello. I was wondering who that was then. Go on.
Jono.
Go on.
Go on. You saw Little now. No, go on to Jono. Jono.
She's gone now.
Well, we've had enough of really talking anyway. When QPR got their equalised, it was fair to say that was QPR were on top a little bit, and our second and third goals were like 3 minutes apart, and we're probably against the run of play. Really, QPR had taken control of that game, and I think it would have been quite easy to say, Jono, that we could have capitulated a little bit after that equaliser, but this time we fought on and got them 2 goals. You've got to give City a lot of credit for coming back that way, Jono, haven't you?
Well, this is the thing. Like, even though we lost 5 in a row in the Premier League, the mentality, I think, is still good. I think the players still want to play for Ruud. I think they believe in the system. How many times have we seen recently that Leicester's had the lead and capitulated and end up losing or drawing the game? We took the lead with a good JJ goal, and it was kind of a bit steady. We conceded, and then I'm like, okay, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen? But then we just went on and scored. Yes, they scored before half time, which made it a bit like maybe they could go back into it. But in the second half, we just put the nail in the coffin. And I think the mentality is massively different than what we've seen in recent years.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Callum, you've watched football long enough to know. Because they scored when it was at half time, literally last kick of the game, wasn't it? Made it 3-2. Did we have to come out and play different if it had been 3-1? Because at 3-1, it was nearly game over, wasn't it? Nearly game over, I would say. But at 3-2, it's slightly different. And what do you think was said in the changing room? Because we could have come out and just played the ball about back and forth, kept the ball and kept QPR out of it. I think because it was 3-2, made a huge difference. And I'm sure we played a different way compared to what we would have done if it was 3-1, Callum.
I think there was definitely sort of probably a ripping up of notes at half time, sort of, especially with the manner the goals conceded. I should imagine that they came in at half time and that it was very much a sort of calm down sort of thing, because technically we were better than them. We got better technical players than them. It's just a fact. I think quite easily they could have folded. They could have easily conceded another two. I think there was very much sort of a take a deep breath, like, attacking wise, they can't cope with us. As we alluded to, 6 shots on target, 6 goals. That's good and that's clinical. The mistakes at the back, I think it was sort of, just take your time. Like, you can take a touch on the ball. Look for that simple pass. Don't look for sort of the ambitious thing that, of course, like, we as fans want to get out of our seats and be entertained and stuff. But sometimes there's got to be a level of pragmatism to it. And I think that was like the first 5-10 minutes, you noticed that it was sort of a lot more calmer, methodical, and we got a reward with a penalty, which sort of, had the 2-goal buffer. And from them, really, it looked like a pretty controlled display. So I think there definitely would have been a bit of alteration. I don't think there would have been too much to change tactically. I think it would have been more of a case from sort of a mental side of things, like let's keep this calm. Like, we are better than these. We are still winning, but let's just cut out these little errors. And I mean, there wasn't really many errors in the second half. It was quite, it was pretty routine in the second half, really. And it's a shame we made 2 mistakes in the first half, but is
this where, I don't know about you guys, but with what Winks did wrong in that game, would you still have him in that squad against Crystal Palace on Wednesday? Because I felt like the moment I saw them 2 hours, I thought, I know, of course, a squad, but I don't know if will he be in the starting 11? Because I feel like maybe, I don't know. Yes, he doesn't normally do these mistakes, but should he be taken out because of the errors he did make?
When's Ndidi back?
I don't know.
Not for a while yet.
Then it's Samari and Winks in the midfield. Then has to be.
Go on, Callum. What do you go on?
I would be inclined to say that, look, he's made 2 mistakes. I think you could probably count. I don't think Harry Winks has made many mistakes at all in his Leicester. I think it would be very harsh to drop. Not every player. Like, how many times has Jamie Vardy missed chances? And everyone adores him still.
He missed that one yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, I think
he missed that one yesterday. If that had been Daka, that would have been. He'd have been ripped to shreds for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of, I think Harry Winks is the sort of player where stuff like that will happen because of the way he plays. He's such a wonderfully technically gifted midfielder, and he sort of is the orchestrator in the middle of the park for Leicester. Having said that, I do actually think we miss Ndidi a little bit because I think it was evident from those first 2 games against Brighton and West Ham. He was very much back to he was sort of given the role that indeed he was given when he first joined the club, which was sort of the bruiser in midfield, does all the really dirty, horrible work, the not so glamorous bits, really. And you sort of have two very technically gifted players in Winks and Samari playing together who can both do the dirty work as well, but that's not what they're known for. I think with Harry Winks, he will just give the ball away sometimes because that's just going to happen. It's unfortunately going to happen, but it's worked far more. There's been far more success. I don't think it would be right to drop him. I don't think Skip and Chowdhury, that would be a defensive. That would be a defensive way to go, and it's quite clear that we work well on the front foot. And I think Winks links up well with those 3 behind Vardy as well.
I'm in sort of in agreement with you there, Callum, about Winks. As much as I don't think he's had a really outstanding season, and I understood why Cooper dropped him because he wasn't playing very well. But he has upgraded his game, upped his game a little bit since Rude's come in, and against Liverpool, Man City, and Villa, he did play quite well. They're all prone to make mistakes. It's just like if a midfielder makes a mistake, there's a chance of leading to a goal. If a keeper makes a mistake, it's going to be a goal. So it doesn't make that many mistakes. I think it's just these individual errors.
I wasn't saying that I should drop. I was just asking the question. Like, it's like JJ, that error he made against Villa, was that enough to be like, you need to be taken out of the game now? So for me, I thought it would have been, but with him playing yesterday, maybe not, and maybe playing yesterday.
If you're a manager, you would have had Vestergaard on crutches instead of Robert Huth playing a couple of years ago.
No. The thing is, like Callum was saying as well about Faes having a decent game and maybe being time out of the squad might have been decent for him. Vestergaard is probably not going to be fit for Wednesday night, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe it's him and Cody again going into Wednesday night's game.
At least Faes brings in more pace, because I think our defence has been really bad, especially on the right flank. And what's our situation with this Woyo Koulibaly? Is he?
I'm glad you said that, Jono.
I don't.
Is it going to happen?
I would imagine so. I think all the talk is. I actually think this does play a role into sort of the whole James Justin scenario. I think one of the big issues is we've had Pereira out for so long, and I think with James Justin there is no competition. The youngsters in the under-21s, as much as it's great to see one of your own come through, they're not good enough and they're not ready yet. And I think that's been a big problem on the right-hand side. James Justin, realistically, no matter how poor his performance has been, whether you like it or not, there's nobody there ready to come in. Like Luke Thomas can't play right back. He played quite well last week, to be fair, but you would start Chris Jansen all the time. But at least you know you've got someone who could operate there. Right now, you can't play a Coley there. Connor Cody can't play right back. Can't play Wout Fast there at right back. Definitely can't play Vestergaard there. The youngsters aren't ready. James Justin's had no competition. If Koulibaly comes in, looks like he's going to come in, it seems like it's going to be a very low risk signing in terms of transfer fee and sort of Rude.
And at least you can rotate then as well.
John Percy alluded to in his article the other day in Telegraph that cheap fullbacks were the priority. Pereira's not back until March, and I think we can all probably agree that someone who's had 3 long-term injuries in less than 5 years, he's probably not going to be at the level he ever was ever again, which is a shame, but that's just the way injuries work, and you're on the wrong side of your 30s. I think this Koulibaly coming in, it could act as a positive for Justin. We might not see Koulibaly play that much because James Justin might think, oh, okay, now I've actually got someone who might take my place. Like, I need to up my game now. And like he played all right yesterday. I think like defensively he still needed a lot of work. But you also have to remember James Justin has had very similar to Ricardo Pereira and had 2 very long-term injuries in quite quick succession. So I think that naturally has a bit of a ripple effect on the way players play. But I think just his lack of competition, sort of, he knows he's going to play every week because there is no other option. So maybe with this Koulibaly coming in, we might see a rejuvenated James Justin, or he'll be outside and Koulibaly will come in it looks like he is going to join. Like, I think all the roads lead to him coming. Whether he's in for Wednesday, I don't think he would start Wednesday anyway, just because he wouldn't have had that much time with his teammates, which is fair enough. But it would be interesting to see, especially the reaction of James Justin, because his place has been under threat for a long time, hasn't it? Let's be real. It's the one position that's been under threat all season, but he's, like I say, no one there to compete at the minute.
I think you're totally right there, Callum, that because it's just been his fullback position only, that is it. He's just going to be picked no matter what. And there's, apart from Hamza, yes, he could have played there. I thought he might have played yesterday to give JJ a bit of a rest. But it was, like I say, it was surprising how how strong that he went yesterday. But
Did you notice the little defensive it made when he was on chair and he decided to back pass it
he
behind him?
backheeled it.
Yeah,
And
and
he's still tackling
he's
him.
still trying to tackle him when he's got no ball on him.
I know. That was weird. That was weird. Me and Reedy had this discussion in the green room before about man of the match, Jono. Who would you actually give the man of the match to?
JJ.
Because of the 2 goals? What about Canoose? His work rate was what you could see of it. His work rate was pretty good.
I think JJ, because I think he deserves it. I think he's had a really tough season. He said it's been under criticism by fans, by pundits for the whole season. And for him to come out and score 2 goals in a game which a lot of fans thought would have been a very tough game, because you may think, it's QPR Championship. So look at Brentford, best home team in the whole of the country, lost to Plymouth Argyle, bottom of the Championship. You know what I mean? So it's no game's a gimme, even if it is rotated. So I think JJ, even though maybe El Khanous and Buonanotte played better, I think he deserves it from scoring 2 really good goals from a season he's not had the best season and under pressure. So yeah, definitely JJ for me.
And Callum, who do you through the gorillas in the mist as the film goes? Who would you give it to?
Oh, well, I think someone said the Fog deserved man of the match, and definitely for his first half display. From my view, the Fog definitely got man of the match. But I would probably say El Khanous or Buonanotte, to be honest. Look, I think Justin was okay, but I think the goals, they were great, but also I think still a couple defensive tweaks. I don't think Ilias Chair gave him the easiest of rides at time. I think he's a good player, to be fair. But I would probably go for El Khanous or Buonanotte. I just think the way that they link the attack together between the way. I think it's been a while since we've had players that sort of really do sort of get you on the edge of your seat. We had Fatawu last season, but I think these two, they have a bit of Mahrez about them where it's you sort of don't know what they're going to do, but you know, and also sort of both players can be doing nothing for 60 minutes and then we'll just pluck something up out of nowhere and everyone will go, oh my God, like what was that? We've just seen, that's unreal. So I think between that, Wout Faes, to be fair as well, I would also put him with a shout. I don't think he put a foot wrong, really, to be honest. And again, he's someone that's been criticised a lot.
Just talking about Wout Faes there, Reedy, Callum's just mentioned him. The goal that, I mean, you just said you didn't see it because, have you seen highlights of it yet?
Yeah, I have. The moment I left the ground, I saw it.
Did you see Patson's Daka reaction?
He went.
His hands went on his head like that. I mean, it was unbelievable. I didn't expect him, but when you're 5-2 up and like near enough the last kick of the game, what more do you expect? Have a pop.
You could hear all the crowd asking him to shoot. So
the best quote I've heard all of yesterday was I was watching the highlights and the commentator said, "Well, that seals it then, doesn't it?" I'm thinking it's 6-2. That seals it. I thought that was hilarious, but
it had very Vincent Kompany vibes about it. So yes, you can see all the players being like, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." Well, and I mean, I was expecting sort of a Robert Huth free kick-esque thing. I was expecting this is.
You probably could have caught it, Colin, if it's in a normal.
Yeah, I did duck at first. I think. Tosin top corner.
Tosin scored twice for Chelsea, and you thought they were good, and then you see Faes' shot, and yeah, it's even better than both of them.
I think he might get goal of the tournament this season. I think that goal could win goal of the FA Cup.
It could be close.
No, there was a player yesterday that did a Zlatan. I can't remember his name now. He did a Zlatan from about 40 yards.
Oh God!
It was one of the lower teams. Who was it? Oh, I can't remember now. But there was a better goal than that. Yes, unfortunately to say, there was even their goal, Varane's, which you would have probably seen pretty well, Callum, where you were. That was a pretty stunning goal, wasn't it, from there?
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, look, I actually don't look 6-2. I think you look at 6-2, and it does to an extent. But I think when you're that clinical in front of goal, look, QPR made 6 changes, and I mean, I live in London anyway, so I travelled up with a lot of these QPR fans, and a lot of them seemed quite confident that they were going to win. So. They are in very good form, though. It Rude did point out when the draw was made, QPR was sort of near rock bottom, really. And then since then, it's sort of been like a complete 180 where we've been on this horrendous losing run. QPR have quietly climb the table. And look, I think they're a decent side. They've got decent little players. That the Varane player looked good. Chair's always been a good player. Harrison Ashby wasn't great yesterday for him. Obviously, he gave away the penalty, but he's pretty solid.
The penalties, Callum. What about that one that wasn't given?
Yeah, I mean, that was more of a penalty than the penalty that was given in my eyes, which was...
Wow.
Cifuentes sort of said that the penalty given was harsh, but then said he hadn't watched the highlights back. So yeah,
it didn't look like a penalty when I was looking at it. But it was definitely
there. You can't defend with your hand up there, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do. I normally do a reenaction, Callum, the last few weeks, but I'm not getting on the floor because I won't be able to get back up at the
minute. The penalty that wasn't given was, I would say, more of a penalty than it was still a penalty, but I was very surprised not to see it again. But I don't know whether that was the ref sort of
going easy on him,
being kind. Let's put it that way. But even then, QPR at 6-2 down was still forward. They looked all right, to be fair. With a rotated squad, still think they gave us a bit of a game at times, and it was just nice to see from a squad's mental side, Leicester sort of, because I think it's undeniable that I think there is quality there, but I don't think it's sort of on the same level as the last time we were relegated. But what is nice to see, I think these players do. I think they do really enjoy playing. Yeah. I think they enjoy playing under Ruud. Actually, I think as well. You would be a fool as a player. I think for a lot of players that age as well, a lot of them would have grown up watching Ruud van Nistelrooy play. I think you would want to run through brick walls for someone like that, especially someone like a Jamie Vardy and stuff like that, who have, he beat Ruud's record, but he'd have grown up watching Ruud banging goals for United and all that. I think it's quite evident these players enjoy playing under him. And I think as well, you have to take into account a lot of the games have come quite thick and fast as well. So I don't think Ruud's actually had that much time on the training pitch with them, in the grand scheme of things, because of the way the fixture list has gone.
I think before the Villa game, he'd had something like 14 training sessions before the Villa game, and then he's had five before today's game. So he's only had 20 or 19, 20 full training sessions. And now this week they're not going to do much Monday and Tuesday, I wouldn't have thought. Day off today, review the game Monday, maybe a bit of light training, Monday and Tuesday, bit of set piece work. But it won't. I don't think they'll do much. And the same again between Palace and Fulham. There won't be much work done then. So it is hard work. But before we get on to the Palace game, well, Phil's going to do the Palace game, win the next round of the Cup. With ball number 20, Jono, hit me with who you want in the next round.
Exeter.
You know what? I've got that down on my sheet as well. Reedy, do you know where Exeter is?
No.
Oh, you didn't know where Wrexham was the other year, sorry.
I bet thought Wrexham was in near Cornwall. I bet Reedy.
Yeah. That'd be a long journey for you, Jono, wouldn't it? Geordie Jono, if you got a ticket for that'd be a hell of a journey.
I mean, I wouldn't go. I mean, and Middlesbrough, probably Leeds up are the games I can go to realistically.
Got knocked out yesterday, didn't I think? So you couldn't have Middlesbrough. They lost to Blackburn, I'm sure they did.
No, but any game around that leads up, around the area.
Reedy, come on then, pal. Ball number 20, going out of the hat. I'll take it you want that at home, Jono, yes?
I think Exeter away. I know, at home. Exeter at home. Exeter at home.
Reedy, we all know we're going to get Liverpool or Man U, don't we? Or Arsenal.
Yeah.
We all know we're going to get that away. But Reedy, who are you hoping for?
Forest away.
No chance. No.
I'll have him.
Callum, me and Reedy have this thing, and when the FA Cup comes round,
I just want to play big games. It's fine.
I want to go as far as possible, which means playing the lesser teams. But Reedy wants to challenge himself in the FA Cup by playing some of the top teams away from home. So, Callum, come on, back me up on this one, pal.
I'm still scarred from that last Forest away game in the Cup. So I'm pretty much scarred. I've been scarred.
I want revenge.
We can save that for when we end the European dream for them, and we secure Premier League survival on the third 3 games left. So save it for that one. Also, same for Coventry and Derby. They petrified the life. Probably not Derby because we've seen it's always beaten 4-1, but Coventry as well sort of petrifies the life out of me because I cannot take losing to any one of the rivals. But I would probably say, from a selfish perspective, Exeter away, sort of a nice new ground to tick, which not many of us have probably been to. I'd just like a nice away game, to be honest. I think, look, I don't want to play a Premier League side because we've done them all to death. Like, we're going to play them again at some point. So give us a nice game where probably haven't been to for a while. I mean, like, I didn't get to do Plymouth last year, so I'd quite like to do Plymouth away again.
I'm all right, thank you.
It's a
I'm
long,
all right, thank you.
long
It's all right.
journey.
It's one of my shorter ones being from.
It's really a home one for you, isn't it, Callum?
I'd quite happily take Exeter away. To be honest, I just like a nice little away day where sort of it's relatively routine.
Don't give us Leeds away.
This is what I was going to talk about.
I wouldn't mind Stoke away actually, just because I went to uni there, so I would quite like
Leeds.
Stoke away. It'd be nice to
Don't
go
let
back
Tom
there.
don't let Tom Cannon score against us either.
He won't be able to play.
Yeah, he wouldn't be allowed to play.
No, you're right.
This is what I was talking. This is what I was about to mention. If Aggie Frith is there, I bet he was at this one. Went to Exeter away midweek. We lost and then won at Anfield the next weekend. That is Leicester in a nutshell. That's before any of your three times. I remember that well. But I think Aggie would have been to the Exeter game and probably the Liverpool game as well. If Aggie's there, I'd like him to confirm that because he's been following Leicester longer than me. He has. Like I said, I always want to go as far as I can in the cup. So I want a home draw against Plymouth or Exeter or even Blackburn, just so we can not, because we lost to them last year or the year before, I think it was. Recently.
A couple of
Wickham
years
wouldn't be
ago.
a touch either. Wickham wouldn't
It
be
wasn't
bad.
that long ago. We lost to them at home, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I want Wickham.
Yeah,
When it's a
Wickham,
draw.
Wickham gives me bad
The
memories.
draw is tonight after the Arsenal game. So
Yes, it is.
We
Straight
will
after the
get
Arsenal game.
we'll get Liverpool, Arsenal, or probably Chelsea. So there's no point debating. We're going to get one of those three teams. So
Oh yeah,
we could
We're gonna get
dream.
one of
We
the
could
big
dream
six.
Exeter.
We can hope for Tamworth if they beat Spurs.
Do you know who's getting Exeter? I'm calling it right now. Man City will get Exeter. 1,000,000%. I'm calling it now.
You know what, Aggie? I thought you were there, pal. I knew you'd have been there. I knew Aggie. Aggie's been going for about 100 years. He has. He's been to every ground, I think. Right then, Callum, much appreciated you joining me. Thanks a lot, mate. And,
thank you for having me.
You're down in London and you're working for who now, are you?
I work for GRV Media, so I've been there since August time. So I work on Leicester City News. So if you ever see us around, I probably would have written one of them. And then I also do a lot of boxing stuff as well for Bloody Knockout on part of the GRV community. So if you ever see my name on one of those articles, thank you for reading them.
You can say you've seen him. You know where you've seen him. You've seen him on Leicester Fan TV. But Callum's been on before, and we'll get him on before the end of the season. Cheers for joining me, Callum. You can go and enjoy. Is it foggy down in London, or wet, or windy?
No, it's quite nice actually. Just grey skies, really. Just a bit cold, but a bit cold never hurt anyone.
It's not like being in the Foxes with a pint like you did a few years ago.
Oh yeah, those are memories. I think I remember watching a dull 0-0 against Leeds in the bar all those years ago. So
That's a memory you want to delete now, isn't it?
We'll try and get back eventually. We'll
You
try and
better,
get back
pal.
to the island. I will
You
do, mate.
better. All right then, mate. Cheers,
much.
Callum. Thanks a lot, pal.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers. Be good. Well, there we go. There we are. Jono, how are you, mate? You all good? Are you ready for the week to come in, work-wise, football-wise, everything?
I'm ready for work. I'm not ready for us playing against Crystal Palace. That
It should be the other way around, shouldn't it? You should be ready for Palace and not ready for work.
I mean, I always get, with me, I'm always a pessimist. I'm always worried about we're going to get. I think you should start gambling on Leicester losing every single game because either way, a win-win. Either we lose or win money.
Yeah. Jono, we shall see you again soon, pal. Be good. Thanks for joining. I will see you Thursday night when you preview the Fulham game with Simon Mack and a guest. I'm not quite sure who the guest is yet, but we're in talks for a guest for you, pal. We shall see you Thursday night. See you later, mate. Be good. Read it. Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot for joining. Much appreciated.
No worries. Ready for
And if I don't
Palace.
see you through the week, I shall see you through the window, pal.
Bye-bye.
See you later, mate. Be good. Be good. There we go. Much appreciated. Once again, all you lot turning up to watch me, Reedy, Callum and Jono out here. Get out your pit at 10 o'clock to come and watch me. Absolutely fantastic. But a little bit of homework before you go, please. Please like and share wherever you've been watching, whatever platform you've been watching it on. Much appreciated. There goes the final whistle. Ciao, ciao. Adios. Goodbye. Tot Zane. Come on, you Foxes.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Foxes Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.